Hey, so one of the things that are very beneficial or helpful in us being able to uh, improve our health is prevention. And so over the years, I've realized in my own health and working with other people that there are certain signs that my body was giving me ahead of time that I didn't pay attention to. And so I wanted to go over some of these triggers over the next few weeks or so. And today, what I want to bring attention to are digestive issues. Now, this one I wanted to speak about first because it's such a huge indicator, but there's so many of the indicators that we have just made the norm. Like, that's just the way it is, or that's just the way of our bodies are supposed to function. And many things like that. There's a lot of things in the society that we've just accepted as, well, that's just my age, or it's just something common. And then we have this acceptance of how we deal with it too, which is widely prescription drugs. And we don't see the correlation or the connection to improving our health through prevention and these signs that our awesome bodies have already given us and give us over the years, just because we have this idea or concept that that's the way it's supposed to be. So I want to talk about some of those. So as far as the digestive issues, one of the things is that we can indicate or identify areas that are, or things that are going wrong in our health. Some key signs that could really help to prevent a lot of issues: osteoporosis, um, arthritis, pain, like inflammation, all of these things up, mental fog, memory loss, all of these things. There are signs that we can get, that we get within our, that have to do with our digestive system, that we experience in our stomach. Things like bloating, okay, gas. We just, and I'm saying we because me too. I mean, so many things, it's just like, okay, that's the way it is. And we don't even bring these things up to other individuals. And I think that when we start to talk about them, that they can really help to prevent a lot of issues. If someone would have told me, when I got pregnant, during my pregnancy, this happened, these things changed, this happened. And then from there, we can, in discussing them, we can really identify and express that we don't want them to be that way. They're not supposed to be that way. We can actually look for solutions. But there's many things I never looked for solutions for because I just thought that that's the way it was. We're kind of, we're creatures of habit, and the habits we have are based on the things that we see. Even things that are unspoken. We are taught things and believe things just unintentionally. So bloating, gas, those are indications that your body, or signs that your body is trying to give you that it's going in the wrong direction. That another issue is going to come from there, something even more detrimental. So when we think about our digestive system is the process that our body goes through to take in nutrients and send it out to where it needs to go. It's the healing process. And we know that when our body is broken down, which happens on a regular basis, when we do something, like now I'm talking, I'm putting out energy. I'm using the muscles in my body. And this one up here, the brain, takes up almost a third of the nutrients that we put inside of our body because it's always functioning. It's always sending out messages even when we're sleeping, you know? And so we have to, we need to understand, and let's understand that our body needs nutrients for our body to, for us to function. And how we function has to do with the type that we put in there, how we put them in there, the amount, all of these things. And so one of the things, the signs that we don't want to ignore is when we experience things like bloating, gas, when our bowel movements, let's talk about that one. Our bowel movements, a healthy bowel movement would be a full bowel movement, like a large bowel movement, one to where you feel like you actually had a dump, like you dumped, you felt lighter after you got up off of, the toilet. The visual appearance of it should be like the consistency of a ripe banana. but a good large amount. And you should be having a bowel movement no less than once a day, a good dump no less than once a day, ideally twice a day. So once or more per day. I've come to find throughout the years that many people, and I've spoken to people, as a child, and they've said, oh, I don't have a bowel movement once a week. But it was just kind of something that was just passed. And then later on, there's these other issues. Well, do you understand that your body needs to have an efficient manner in which it takes in the nutrients, the food, whatever you put inside your body, to get rid of the parts that are toxic, because some parts are going to be toxic and the parts that we don't need, and to be able to extract the nutrients and distribute them to the body parts they need to go to based on what's going on in our life. It's going to be different for a woman that's pregnant. It's going to be different for a woman that's going through menopause. It's going to be different through a male that's 50 in comparison to a male that's 20. It's not worse as the age increases, but it needs to be different and intentional in different areas based on that. So many times we have habits that we develop as a child, and we think that, oh, that's whatever. I can just not think about anything and just throw garbage into my body. And we realize 80 years later, 50 years later, that the food supply changed and we're still eating the same way, and then we're wondering why things are going awry. Well, when we're aware of these things, or when we acknowledge the things that are changing in our body and don't accept them as just being the way that it is, we have discussions, and then we go to find out information about the solution. The solution is going to be something that's natural. It's going to be something that you can change in your habits. The solution is not a drug, okay? The drug is something to handle a particular outcome that's causing a more traumatic or devastating effect on the body for a short period of time. It's like if you have a surgery. I mean, that's because something needs to be done immediately. Hopefully it needs to be done. Sometimes there's surgeries that are done that don't need to be done. But if it's a surgery, something needs to be done immediately. It's not something you're supposed to get done all the time. Okay, well, once a year I go get a surgery. No, your body's not supposed to be cut into. The body was designed to heal and recover itself. And since we have these different adverse events and toxins that are in our food and our clothing and everything that we use, then there are changes that we need to make because of that. Even if our food supply was the same as it was 2,000 years ago, which I wish I could actually take some food from like 2,000 years of some good organic food. But anyway, even if it was the best food that we could have from the beginning of time, straight from the Creator's hands, we still change. Our bodies have changed. The things that we do change. You go from one season where it might be more physical activity, you might be busier physically, and then another one you might be more busy mentally, another one you have a little bit less. So because life and the events that we engage in change, with that alone, even if our food supply was the same as it was thousands of years ago, guess what? We still need to make adjustments based on the changes of our lifestyle. And so digestion, listen, when we eat something, our body needs to be able to take the nutrients and send it where it needs to go so our body can heal. When we have weakness or continued tiredness or bloating, don't run out and get a PPI, you see? And that's one of the things that's common, a proton pump inhibitor. Those are like the third highest drug that is sold in the U.S. I think antibiotics might be the second or something, but anyway, it's at the top of the list when it comes to the pharmaceuticals that are sold. And that's letting us know, well, there's a good amount of people that have this issue. Why is it increasing? It's, giving too much away, people experiencing this. Regardless, it's being used. People are using it. And so we want to be aware of this, because what we've now found, what studies have found, researchers found, are these rippling side effects from using these PPIs long term, using Tums, using acid suppressors, okay? Now, acid is in our bodies for a reason. We need a certain level of acid in our stomach, or atmosphere of acid in our stomach, so that the food can be broken down. If the food is not broken down, guess what? It can go into the small intestines and carry unnecessary and bad bacteria to the small intestines and cause things like bacterial overgrowth or fungus overgrowth, SIBO and SIFO. So if the acid is not there, we're continually suppressing the acid, then how is our food digesting? It's not absorbing. And so one of the effects of using those long term is bone deterioration, advanced bone deterioration, meaning something that your body is not supposed to be breaking, a manner which is not supposed to be breaking down, and you're having bone fractures, an inability to be able to strengthen yourself, because when we do resistance training or use our muscles, our ability to use our muscles, or the capacity in which we can use our muscles, is going to be based off of the strength of our bone. They depend on one another. So if the bones are weak, your muscles are going to be weak. It has nothing to anchor off of. Okay, so when we are aware of these things, like I said, the digestive issues, things like heartburn, like I said, gas and bloating, heartburn, these things are not indicators to go grab a drug. Definitely not to use them long term, but to find out and get to the root of it. So if you use them for a week, while you're getting to the root of what it is, while you're discovering what triggered it, then okay, fine, find out, and then come off of it. Now, for those of you who have been using them for an extended period of time, don't just come off of them, because your body has to recalibrate itself, get back into balance from being off balance from using. But what you can do is you can start to gradually take it down. You can start with half or maybe a third of what you're typically taking, and then you can gradually step down. You should be able to step down anywhere from 2 weeks to a month at the longest, I would imagine, for you to do that. Now, at the same time, you want to make sure that you're also changing what you're eating. You'll be able to tell what's causing it. But some of the things that do cause the digestive issues, the heartburn, is things like alcohol. Okay, I mean, alcohol consumption, like it has a ton of negative effects, but the way that it destroys your atmosphere in your stomach, your body's ability to absorb nutrients, not to mention your cognitive function, but just when we're speaking of digestion, alcohol, I mean, it's going to be at the root of a lot of issues that we have. Okay, another thing is fried foods. Okay, bad oils, corn oil, seed oil, soybean oil, those are going to cause digestive issues. Okay, the PPIs, like we said, anything that inhibits the acid in your stomach, those are going to cause issues. They're going to stop your body, block your body from absorbing nutrients you need in order for your body to get stronger. In order for your body to be able to break down protein. Okay, if your acid in your stomach is too low, then you can't break down the protein. Another ironic thing is that when you use them long term, there's an opening at the stomach to where the food comes in, the food goes out, and that opening needs to be closed when the stomach is, breaking down the food. It doesn't, not supposed to remain open, but when the acid is lower, then that area of the stomach stays open, so then the acid can go through. So the ironic thing about it is that when you use the acid reducers or suppressants, proton pump inhibitors, then it actually increases or makes it worse. So you're taking it to decrease the acid in the stomach, but then it then turns around and starts to produce more of the same. So it's really horrible. It never takes care of the issue. Okay, so that's one thing. Now, the other thing is, I'll put down one of the notes here, the things I really wanted to cover with you all, is that there are ways for you to be able to help, okay, with your digestive system, to improve it. Okay, one of them is what I mentioned. We talked about the foods. We talked about the drink. Pay attention to what causes those disruptions in your stomach. Even sometimes there's foods that are very nutrient dense that you might not be able to take at this time because of the condition of your stomach. Pay attention to that and come up with different options. One thing would be apple cider vinegar. Okay, apple cider vinegar. You might be able to take a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar after your meal, and that'll help with the digestion of the food. The acidic nature and other properties of the apple cider vinegar could really help for you to keep your blood sugar low. It helps to regulate your blood sugar, but it aids in that digestion as well. That's one thing that you can take to help you to process the food and to bring your stomach back to the place that it needs to be after suppressing so much of the acids that's there. So that can help. Also, making sure that you have some time in between when you lay down and when you eat, okay? I know so many people, one person in particular, they recommended for someone to have something to eat before they go to bed so they can sleep better, which that doesn't work. And it definitely doesn't work with alcohol. I know many times people think that alcohol, have something to drink and knock myself out. It doesn't work because you wake up, it disrupts your sleep pattern. It's such a false. I mean, we do these things that give us a quick response, but we don't understand that we're making it worse on the other end. And so we have this circular destructive pattern that takes place. And so alcohol doesn't help you go to sleep. It works in the opposite fashion. But if you have some space in between the time that you have your last meal and the time that you go to sleep, then it's different. I know there's sometimes individuals, they might have, say for instance, you ate at 5 and maybe at 9 or something, you're hungry again. It makes sense because your food is already processed. You could just ignore it and the hunger pains will go away. You could also have something that's just a liquid, have some chamomile tea with lemon, something like that. Or you could also have just some bone broth, that very helpful, some warm bone broth, which actually helps to heal the gut lining as well if you have any issues there. Say for instance, for someone that has stomach ulcers, then you wouldn't want to take the apple cider vinegar, but you can take the bone broth, which helps to heal the stomach lining actually, that helps to heal the stomach lining. So if that's the case, then you can have something like some, warm almond milk, which is, it's not heavy on your stomach or your digestion. It can be very soothing. You put some cinnamon in there and it could be very good for you to have if you have the situation. But you want to leave some time, anywhere from 2 to 4 hours in between your last meal and when you go to bed. That will definitely help to prevent the acid reflux. One of the most prominent causes of it is this idea of eating and then going to bed, or eating on the, if you're on the couch and then you're just passing out on the couch. So that causes acid reflux. It does. And so that would definitely be helpful. Decreasing the fried foods like we spoke about, that's something that's helpful to do. Also, taking a walk after your dinner, after any one of your meals when you have the option, that aids in digestion. That movement actually helps for your food to digest. So that's a very good thing, taking a walk. Any sort of movement after that is going to be able to help. Not any sort of movement, not eating and then going for a sprint, or eating and immediately going to lift weights or something like that. No, nothing strenuous, but doing just some regular walking, that is beneficial in regards to digestion. And so those are some tips that you can use that would be very helpful. Another one would be utilizing digestive enzymes that helps you to break down the food. If you've been taking PPIs for a while and your body's not used to digesting the foods, the enzymes aren't there to help break it down. Take some digestive enzymes. You can do that. And so those are just a few tips that can help you with that, and some recommendations. Lifestyle tips, those sorts of things that could really make a huge difference with these things. But what I want to reinforce is, don't ignore these things that are uncomfortable just because they seem like they're common, okay? Don't run to get a drug because the drug is addressing the symptoms. And when you address just one part, neglecting the effects of it, then you have a whole nother set of issues later on in life. Nobody wants to deal with those when they don't have to, okay? So there are solutions. There is a way to make those adjustments and experience some really good benefits. We need the nutrients to help our body to function and our brain to function. So I hope those tips were helpful. I know they have been helpful for myself and a lot of my clients. So take them, jump right on them. If you have any questions, definitely reach out to me. You can reach out to me on Facebook, reach out to me on Instagram at underscore JanB Fitness on Instagram. That's underscore JanB Fitness. On Facebook, it's just Janel Bilal, same as it is here on YouTube. And yeah, let me know. Leave me some questions. I'd love to really hear what benefits, what the positive results that you've experienced in trying these things. Also, if you have other things that you've tried that are holistic, natural sources that have really worked, go ahead and share those, and we'll look into that and just continue to add on to the information as it comes to me, as I become aware of it, and we'll just continue to help each other get healthier and healthier. So I trust that was helpful, and I love you. God bless. Have a good day.